So, there's a cat staring at you right now. This is a Toon Boom rig that I made a little bit ago, maybe a month ago, and I've posted it a few times on like Instagram and stuff, and people have liked it, which is nice, and they've asked me a lot of questions about it and if I could make a video about this, so I thought I should, because I like talking about rigs a lot actually, so I was like, cool, I get to waffle about rigs, cool. So yeah, this is a Toon Boom rig. This is Toon Boom, if you're not familiar with it. This is what she looks like. So what a 2D character rig is just a collection of loads of drawings all kind of stitched together. And you can move them all individually and, you know, trick the eye into thinking that they're kind of one entity, really. And then all of the stuff in the node view like stitches these drawings together, makes them behave in certain ways, makes them reshapeable, and that's what makes up a rig. And it can be as complicated or as simple as you need it to be. This very scary looking plate of spaghetti over there is the node view. So this is what a rig looks like as, you know, this is what it looks like under the hood, basically. Yeah, it's a bit creepy looking when you don't know what you're looking at, but once you learn the node view, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that helps you make stuff, and I absolutely love it. I love the node view. I find it is like just a really nice organized way to, well, a nice visual way, sorry, to organize your layers and your effects and everything. If you use 3D software, you'll probably be familiar with nodes. Like Blender has nodes, I think Maya has nodes. I love nodes. So what a very basic look of what nodes are is, for example, I have my reference images down here. This reference here of my character Pipit, who I modelled the rig after. I haven't coloured it properly yet though, as you can see. This ref is just this image here. I can turn it off and on. Just this blue node here. And I've got a green node attached to it. This is called a peg. And this is like, if you transform it, like, you know, if you move it around or skew it, change the size like this, blah, blah, blah. All of that like movement information is stored on this green node. So if you don't like your transformation, you want to get rid of it, you can just get rid of that node. And you know, it's basically a way of moving or editing something without actually affecting the drawing itself. So we like pegs a lot. You know, we can do whatever we want to a peg and it won't damage the original drawing at all. So this is a very basic look of nodes, you know, drawing, peg, those are your nodes. But yeah, rigs are that times 100. As you can see here. But once you get used to it, it's actually okay. And this is just like a really over-the-top puzzle. A puppet made of drawings. What people liked about this rig is that I could do with it. So this is like 2D rig rotation. So when you make a character rig, say I worked for a studio for a bit doing prop rigs, and I did a teeny tiny bit of character rigging where I just added costumes to them and stuff. Character rigs would tend to have a turnaround, so they can rotate. I have not done a full rotation, this is my first rotation I've done myself. And all that is like when the animators want to, you know, turn a 2D character around, they can pick from these frames in the timeline and paste them to where they want, or, you know, apply a master controller to it, so they can do it with handles. Which you might have seen if you've looked up Toon Boom rigs, you know, the impressive thing where like there's like sliders on the side here and the animator drags them around and the character rotates and looks around. That's what a master controller is. This does not have any of those at the moment. But if I was to add a master controller to this, I would use these points on the timeline for that to refer to. So I started off with a front view on this character, and then with all the deformers and pegs that I have on this, I you know, went from there and I changed all the drawings and shapes to go in this angle. So if I show you some of the deformers on this, for an example, this is the main base head deformer, well, drawing, which is here on the node view over here. These are the head drawings right here, so that's lines and color. And you can see I've put them in their own little box here that I've labeled head base. So you can put them in their own boxes and name them and color code them, and that helps you keep all of your little bits organized. Because if I didn't label any of these, I'd forget where anything was. Like, look at the cheek fur, for example. There's a load of stuff going on in the cheek fur box, even though it's a seemingly very simple thing. So it helps to label all this and also name your drawings and pegs appropriately. So this is what's going on with the head base. So it's kind of just, this is the actual drawing. It's just a circle. And I've put a deformer on it, and I've shaped the deformer so that it goes from this shape in front view to this shape in like a 3/4 view. And then it's the same thing like that, but with every single drawing. So the muzzle goes from quite a standard round shape, you know, to more changing in perspective there. Same with the nose, except less extreme, you know, it's kind of a basic triangle, and then with the deformer I can kind of shift it so it looks like it's turning. You know, same with the mouth. The mouth here I've got a deformer on, so like the deformer is around the muzzle sort of, so you can see it like this, for example, and the actual mouth line is attached to the deformers too, so I can change them around and shape them. Curve them around like this, and you know, do a little smile or something. And you know, I basically have all of that going on with all of the drawings. There's the eye doing it. The ears are a little more complicated. This is the ear base, which is kind of just a standard triangle shape, but as it rotates into 3/4, I have this far part of the ear becoming rounded as it rotates in space. And then I've got like a front part of the ear here, which is sort of on a clipping mask on the base of the ear. So I can move this around, but you know, it doesn't come outside of the base of the ear. So that way I can have like this flap thing of the ear, and I can rotate that in space as well, like that. Same with all of the ear fur. Doing all that, and as you can see here, it switches sides. That's because when I do, you know, the face going, oh look, it goes funky there because I changed that frame. When he rotates the other way around, I basically just flipped the entire face and animation and just repeated it, but the other direction. So that's why it flips that way there. You know, they all have clipping masks. Well, some of them have clipping masks called cutters in Toon Boom, which allows them to do some spicy things, like for example the pupils cannot leave the eye at all, and the mouth cannot leave the muzzle, I don't think. Well, I didn't do that with the nose. I think I did it with the mouth though. Yeah, I did. Yeah, stuff like that. Some things people do with Toon Boom rigs is they add drawing swaps, and this is to maybe help with changing expressions or eye shape, or if there's a design change, like maybe they get a cut across their face or something, but mostly it's with mouth shapes. So like when you're doing lip syncing, instead of reshaping a mouth with maybe lots of complicated deformers and layers every time, you just have a drawing swap that you swap to in order to lip sync. So for example, here I've got a few eye drawing swaps here, and what these do, I've got handles on them too as well, like this, so you can kind of see what they are. So this represents the eyelid, this handle here. And what this means, and you can see down here, these are where my drawing swaps are. So this is kind of like my drawing library that's attached to each drawing. So this represents no eyelid. This represents that he's got an upper eyelid on, so this is this upper eyelid that I can move around. And I can also move it around with the handle here. He also has just a lower eyelid, and he has both as well, so you can like squint or blink or something, and you can move these around as well. And then I've got like a closed eye. Now you could probably animate these with without drawing swaps and just have eyelids hidden, but just for ease of like animation, it's nice to have drawing swaps for these things, so when you're animating a blink, you maybe don't have to drag deformers around every time. You can just do drawing swaps, which are really quick to switch through, like this for example. I've got a shortcut where my square brackets switch between drawing swaps on a drawing. And the way these drawing swaps are made, all the drawing swaps are is just a new frame on the timeline essentially. So I'll make a new frame, so like drawings, create empty drawing, and it'll create a new frame, and it'll create a new drawing on this slider here. So if I wanted a new eye drawing, I just simply make a new frame, draw it, and then it will be on this slider. Because the way Toon Boom works is that it keeps all of your drawings in this library. So if you're animating hand-drawn and you're drawing all of your, you know, sketches, they will all save in this library. So even if you deleted one off the timeline, like if I clicked here and just pressed delete and it's gone off this timeline, it's blank, I can always bring it back. If you wanted to delete them for good, you have to actually right-click it on the timeline, go to drawings, and then delete selected drawings. That's how you delete it for good. But that's quite handy in a way, like if you accidentally deleted one of your drawings in your hand-drawn animation, you can just bring it back, as long as you know what number it is. Like for example, so that's on 0 blank, so this drawing was 1 eyelid upper, so, you know, just brought it back like that. So every time you make a new frame on a drawing, / layer, it creates a new drawing on this drawing swap thing. So that's all that drawing swaps are. So I created a bunch of drawing swaps for these eyes to make blinking a little easier. And then I animated a test blink here. So you can see it's with, it's on the drawing where he's got both upper and lower eyelid, but I animated it so that they come in like that and then blink and then come back out. Oh no, I didn't do them coming back out. But yeah, basically just like that. So, you know, I'd have a frame on the timeline with the eyelids like this, and I'd have a frame where I drag them up and the eyebrow too, and then I just click the tween button and then it animates. So if I got rid of that, for example, it's just these two frames here that I made by dragging these eyelids around, and then clicked the tween button, and it does this. There's also a button here, this one, set ease for multiple parameters, and what doing this, it allows you to put an ease here like this, so if I drag this on the graph, that's an ease out, so it will let me, you know, the animation will ease out instead. It will favor the first frame, the eye open frame. And then these are the mouth drawing swaps I was talking about. So this one, this mouth was made just with the default mouth. So this is the one where I've got like all of this on deformers, like the muzzle's on a deformer, and I can just shape the mouth around however I want. This will stay closed though. And then I've got a, oh wait, no, I made an open one too. There we go. There's one with it open. You can see the lower mouth, it's on its own drawing that you can move around separately and change deformers for separately. And I think the tongue you can move around too, yep, like that. But I've also got lots of drawing swaps for the mouth. They don't look great, so don't judge too harshly, but all of these mouths here, so this represents a lip sync here. So I call this meow phlegm, because it looks like they kind of say meow phlegm. And this is most of the mouth drawings that you'll need for lip sync. Like you've got E, closed ah, you know, and then it goes into R and O and oo, and then an F, and then a th. That's a really terrible one, but I did that really quickly, excuse me. And then an L shape as well. And I don't have lots of crazy deformers on these. I just I mostly just have, I think it's just a straight deformer. I didn't apply it to the rest yet, but yeah, most of them just have a curved deformer like this, so that you can reshape them if you really want to, but you don't really have to, but it's there just in case. And you can see all the mouths all the mouth drawings along the timeline here, so if I was to use my square brackets, I can flip between these like this. And this makes it nice and quick for animators animating lip sync. They can just flick through really quick and see which mouth they need, and then just lip sync like that, instead of, you know, having to reshape a new mouth every single time. But yeah, I have got like these two mouths too, which are editable and shiftable in case an animator wanted them. Yeah, I've only done these front mouths so far. I have not done like angled mouths for the front quarter view, for the quarter front view yet, because I'll have to figure that out, how to open this mouth and have, you know, like negative space here and move the chin down and have the teeth and tongue work properly. That's something I haven't done yet. And I don't think this rig will really need lip sync, to be honest, so I don't think I'll actually end up doing that. But I will try and, you know, make an editable open mouth. Because I created this rig maybe for like your character here commissions, so I can animate this rig and then people can like ask to have me recolor it and redesign it to match their character, and then that character will do that animation, so I just edit the rig. Speaking of animation, I did a test animation of it here that I think I can just play. So that's the test animation of it. This was kind of the stuff I wanted to do with it, like little emoting animations and, you know, maybe bopping his head up and down, dancing, just like, mostly just like little expression changes and smiles and stuff. And yeah, for the animating part of it, what animation is like for these rigs. It depends on the rig, but you do all of your animation with the transform tool over here. So with rigs, all of the drawings should have pegs and maybe deformers and such, so that you can, you know, drag them and move them and whatever, and it'll, you know, and have that on the timeline and animate to that. And then so you sort of move your rig around and position it and pose it, and then you can use sort of the tween button in between and it'll do a very basic tween, and then you sort of go in between that and make it look more alive and more less puppety and weird looking. So for example, for this animation, the basic keys were this, and then this, and then this. And I just, so let's go back to the basics for just for an example. So the keys were just like this, and if I get rid of all of these frames, so you know the keyframes were just kind of like this, and then if you click, you know, the set motion keyframe button in between these, it'll do a very basic tween like this. So you can see that looks incredibly puppety, and it's also really slow because it hasn't been timed out or anything. The blink is still in there because that's a drawing swap, so that's, you know, something that a tween doesn't affect. Drawing swaps are not tweened. So you kind of go in between this and you kind of change stuff, like for example, I wouldn't really want the pupils moving like this because that's not how pupils move. Pupils tend to stay still. So I'd go in here and maybe like remove the tween of it, which is that straight, like it's next to the curvy button, it's like the straight one. I'd maybe, you know, keep the pupil looking that direction until he blinks, and then after he blinks, the pupil is over there. Stuff like that. I'd actually animate the blink itself, so this blink is a drawing swap, this closed eye thing here. But this eyelid moving is all on the same drawing. So you can see on that, you can see on the handle, remember, for the eyelid. So I can make, so he blinks there, so 2 frames before it, because I'm going to do this on 2s, you know, I can move the lid down to an almost blink, I make sure it starts, you know, it starts up there. And so now it tweens down to that. But I want it to favor the first frame. At the moment it's like slowing down into the blink there. So if I click that set ease for multiple parameters button and bring this graph up, I can put a slow in there and then apply / next, and it'll go on to the next frame, and then I'll do like, I'll remove the slow out there and click apply, and now it will favor the first frame like that. Like that, and then, you know, I can go into the next one, and I might set an ease out for this one, so it eases into that. And you know, when he'll turn his head like this, if he puts any weight down or anything, I rigged it so that all of these, you know, bits of fur are animatable, movable. So in between keyframes, I'll like move these around and set these with their own tweens and stuff, because you know, these are all their own individual drawings on the timeline down here. So for example, this bit of fur will have its very own tween down here. So it can be tweened to do whatever. So now, you know, they tween to do that. It looks weird, but that's the shape that I just made with them. So, you know, tween into that. Maybe, you know, these bits of fur will come down or whatever. So if I just rotate these and make sure I add a tween on there, you know, they might do that. They might come down like this. Maybe the ears will like have a weighted movement, you know, maybe they'll bend around like this. So, you know, it really depends on the rig, what it has on it and what it can do. This is just really quick, so it's going to look sucky, but it gives an idea, you know. And now, you know, the ear does this. Just snaps into there. You get the picture. It's just a lot of that with individual bits. So it's kind of, instead of like hand-drawn animation, you know, where you draw every frame and you do your in-betweens by drawing them. With puppet animation, it's a load of drawings that you move around. So you can have like 2 keyframes, and instead of drawing your in-between, you move your shapes around to create the in-between, right? So it's very handy for quick animation. Like for example, if I have enough undos to bring everything back, my original animation that I had for this guy. There you go. I also did convert this to 2s afterwards, because when it's on 1s it looks extra puppety. Like I find when it's on 2s, the little extra bit of choppiness kind of adds to it and makes it look more animation-y. Maybe, I wouldn't say maybe more hand-drawn, because this kind of rotates too cleanly. Unless I was really good at hand-drawn, which of course some people are, but it rotates so cleanly it almost does look, you know, it does look puppety. But yeah. That's kind of, I just wanted to do kind of a very quick overview of Toon Boom rigs and Toon Boom rig animation. This isn't necessarily, you know, how to rig video, because I just glossed over it really quickly. I didn't really explain how to make deformers and how to like hierarchy all your drawings and stuff in the node view. This is more just a like, this is what a Toon Boom rig is, and this is how it tends to be animated. But in the future I may do a fairly brief how to rig video, because rigging is quite a wide range of things, and you know, looking at the complexity of this rig here, it's a lot to talk about, right? So maybe in the future we can rig something really simple together, and that will help you hopefully understand the basics of it, and then all you have to do is kind of apply that to a much bigger thing like this with many more drawings in it. So I hope this was helpful somewhat. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll see you next time.